Hey, welcome to Hearsay. I'm Paul.
And I'm Patrick.
And today we're going to be talking about the Terminator films. With the new release of Terminator Dark Fate, we thought we'd rank them a little bit.
Terminator list. That's right, Terminator list time. But before we get into that, you should know that we do new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesday's a bit of a shorter video that's either trivia or a little rapid review of a film you should have seen. Thursdays are our longer deep dives into things, usually media related. We cover the entertainment industry, so if you like that sort of stuff, hit a subscribe, maybe give us a like. And sometimes we do lists of film franchises. And we had to do this list because Terminator Dark Fate came out.
Yeah.
And we both saw it, and we can't tell you if we liked it yet, because we're not reviewing it. You'll see where it fits on the list, and then we'll say what we think of it.
Yeah.
Ooh, teasing.
Well, yeah, we thought we would combine like a mini review with, like, I don't know why I'm doing this.
I don't know, but I really like that. You look like you were sewing small cats together or something.
Well, yeah, we're going to do a mini review of Dark Fate with the list of the other Terminator properties.
Yeah, so when we hit it, we'll review it, because we're different.
Yeah, we'll go right in with, I'm guessing we're starting from the bottom.
We're starting from the bottom.
Cool, which is the only part in which me and Patrick slightly disagree on.
Yes.
Slightly
This is a combined list, and we had them all rated in the same order, except for the bottom ones. I agree with Paul's choice in the end, but I have to say that I have a soft spot for this film. But I can't in any good conscience try and elevate it from the last position.
Well, no, you can say that because, you know, you have a soft spot and it makes you kind of giggle and stuff like that.
You're right, actually. Then
like, you can definitely defend it in the fact that I hate it so much that it deserves to be in the sixth position, but because it's so ludicrous for you, it deserves to be.
We haven't told the poor people at home yet what it is.
Can you guess?
So yeah, you've probably turned off going, if they're not going to say it, we're not going to watch. Paul picked for last position Terminator Genesis. Is that how you say it, the way they wrote it? With a Y in the middle of it? I don't get
Terminator Genesis, all right?
Genesis.
Yeah.
And I actually chose Terminator 3. But I am going to agree... Oh, sorry.
Rise of the Machine.
Yeah, or...
Because all of these have titles.
As it should have been called, Terminator 3. It's a woman this time, because this is a bad time in the late 90s or whenever we made it. It was just... ugh. But we're putting that... not last. Genesis is going last. And Paul, I'm agreeing with you, but I want you to now tear it apart instead of me.
Oh yeah, I'll tear it apart. It's a piece of shit.
And succinctly done.
It's the worst Terminator in the fact that it like, first of all, have no problem with Emilia Clarke. Don't believe that she should have been the Sarah Connor, but, you know, she was there.
Weirdly, I was okay with her as Sarah Connor.
Don't mind it. I'm just saying it just seems a little bit weird. They mess with the timeline a little bit too much. You know, it's just a little bit weird. They have David Tennant in the fucking film for no reason.
Not David Tennant, the other Doctor Who.
Sorry, Matt Smith.
Yeah,
they have Matt Smith in the film, which if you were anyway like able to watch a film and see background people, you'll notice him literally in the first 10 minutes of the film, and you'll be like, "Hey, why is Matt Smith there?"
I bet he's going to do something before this is over.
Yeah.
And he does, funny enough.
I'm going to try tone down the swearing because I hate this film.
Oh, that's all right. Weirdly, then, we both dislike it for different a lot of crossover reasons, no doubt. But my biggest issue was the John Connor and Jai Courtney of it all. Jai Courtney, love your boomerang, mate. Love your Captain Boomerang in Suicide Squad. But you know what? Jai was that's the same actor.
Yeah, it is. But
right.
I think, did you say John Connor?
Yeah, no, I'm saying John Connor and Jai Courtney.
Right,
so
okay.
He played Kyle Reese.
Yes.
Jai Courtney played Kyle Reese. You don't work for me. You're a little bit of a charisma vacuum in the film. And in a lot of films, dude, sorry, like, I'm on an internet guy, so I'm allowed to have opinions that are just really rude about you. John Connor, on the other hand, what a mess. The poor chap that played him, I don't know. That's where it all fell down for me. Emilia Clarke is adorable as always, but also I thought, you know, there was enough about her that I could see a Sarah Connor in a different film. I could not see a Kyle Reese from Jai Courtney.
No, definitely get that. It's just that, the John Connor kind of like twist was kind of just like, not having it. The Kyle Reese, as you said, is kind of he is an action star. He just needs to learn how to have a little bit more emotion. you've been in a war essentially against machines, you're back in the real world where there's loads of people and stuff like that, you'd be a little bit shell-shocked. Like, the Kyle Reese from Terminator 1 was shell-shocked about being thrown back in time and was really confused and stuff. You just seemed like you took it in your stride. And it was just like, it just feels a little weird. It
was all pretty much terrible. Most people don't like it. I think we can move on, but I do want to throw in one thing before we do. If you haven't seen the movie, spoiler alert, everything that they shouldn't do, they go ahead and do. So John Connor turns out to be a blah, blah, blah. But then the ending and the fact that Genesis is an operating system that will be in everything, my phone and everything else, they basically made, after iCloud already existed, I mind, when they wrote this thing, they made the big evil thing that was going to happen in the future being basically everything being in the cloud. And the cloud already existed, and they made it seem like a futuristic, scary thing. I'm not sure if the writers had been outside recently. It was weird.
I slightly get it in a way, which I will talk about later on when we go back to when we go to one of the other movies. We'll say that the only redeeming quality of Terminator Genesis, it does follow the trailer lineage of telling its twist in the middle of the trailer. So there you go.
Yeah, the Terminator 100% for ruining your own films by the trailer. So never watch a Terminator trailer. No, don't. So in last place is Terminator Genesis with a Y.
You are terminated.
In joint last place for me, so technically in fifth place, is the third film.
Yes.
Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. Yeah. Misogynistic piece of dung, really. Felt wrong, was wrong. Didn't really, people are like, oh, what about some of the good action scenes? No, not compared to the other films on this list. Even, the big crane scene, impressive physical feat. Yeah,
I get it.
But as far as Terminator action goes, other than Arnie standing there with a coffin on his shoulder or whatever the hell it was, and he's like, John Connor, it is time. That's about as close to an iconic Terminator moment they got in the whole film. It was just, it felt like a cash-in after Terminator 2.
Yeah, like it's
more than any of the other films.
Oh, like I agree in the fact, but the reason that I don't like it the least is because the rise of like Skynet and stuff like that was really interesting, and as a defensive kind of mechanism, and then seeing essentially the evolution of the hunter killer tanks. From the T1s and then the HK aerial units as well, seeing the little drones. It was interesting to see the evolution of these are machines that are crappy, and then having essentially the T101 looking at it as it's past. And it was an interesting kind of. I get to see the evolution of the Cyberdyne systems and the defense
Is there not an Arnold on screen at some point with an American accent because he's the
that is in the I don't even think it's in the extended version. I think it's on a deleted scene thing.
Front lines. Hi. I'm Chief Master Sergeant William Candy. I was honored to be selected by CRS in the ongoing effort to save American lives.
I don't know about that accent.
We can fix it.
I think we've got to get off the bottom end. So Genesis last place, joint last place for me, Terminator 3. They're the bottom end. We're starting now to get into what should be the better stuff. And for me, not really, because Salvation was a huge, huge disappointment. Terminator Salvation, of all the Terminator films, I think had the most potential that was squandered. It had Christian Bale. It had a new take of we're now going to do it after Judgment Day. Yeah, we're going to full on do it after Judgment Day. They didn't execute well. They did not execute well. The trailer ruined a lot of stuff. Don't get me wrong. That wasn't cool that they gave away everything in the trailer too. But it didn't land. It did not land any of its ideas well. That's, for me, Salvation was a disappointment. It was a fine film. It's in the middle of this list because it's fine. But I think it wasted the most potential. Paul doesn't agree, and
No.
now he's going to use his words to tell me why.
I think it was an interesting idea. I don't think it was I personally don't think it's a disappointment, because I didn't expect them to ever, after Terminator 3, didn't expect them to ever fucking make a film again.
Fair enough.
So when they made Salvation, and they were just like, we're no longer going to do the past, we're going to do the future. But
Which
we're
I
not
thought was
gonna,
great.
We're not going to do so far into the past that it's not fun. We're doing the start of essentially John Connor's resistance, rather than
tell the John Connor story.
Yeah, but it's like, so like, it was, I think it was interesting. I think it was the sections that were poorly done and stuff, but and in traditional taste, it also follows the trailer, pattern of revealing a huge big thing. They had two endings, which I thought were interesting, in the fact that, spoiler alert, the guy who's the Terminator has his heart given to John Connor.
Oh, yes,
the other one was that John Connor would actually die, and his skin would be grafted onto the other model of the Terminators, and he would just become which was an interesting kind of, an interesting one. But like, I like the fact that, seeing the world, and the fact that it's the post-apocalyptic world where it's not zombies and it was actually machines, was an interesting one. The fact that the T-101 hadn't been actually made, it was the HKs and the it was the bigger, like, he was saying like the 90 series or something, the ones with the minigun. So like, I like the evolution of the fact that I can't, like, Skynet is no longer able to essentially kill humanity by force.
I enjoyed the idea of showing after Judgment Day and the Resistance, doing the John Connor story. I just felt that they didn't pay off what I thought, and that's why I say it disappointed me, because it had the most potential of all of the Terminator stories. I think it was the best idea for a follow-up, but maybe just I was disappointed more than I dislike it. And every time I watch it, I'm disappointed, because I'm like, if this had just been a little bit better, if it had been a little bit tidier, tighter, just a little bit more care and attention, because I like, would you genuinely sit down and watch Salvation and be like, excellent Terminator film?
No, but then again, I will sit down and watch it again.
And I will too. But I'll come away with a feeling of disappointment, I guess.
I don't know, like, the only other story that I can think them ever doing in the future would be the actual rise of essentially the infiltration units.
Again, story perfect. Execution, not so good.
Yeah, but I mean, because they didn't do it in this one.
You can tell that we didn't actually talk through our list beforehand, so you're getting to see how we would talk about it now. But that's why, so for various reasons, it's why it's kind of in the middle. Great idea, a bit of a disappointment for me. You're more in the middle on both of those things, but it deserves its spot in the middle. And weirdly, a lot of people are going, but seriously, should another film not have come first? Because we liked it, and an awful lot of people didn't, it would appear. Next up on our list, in third place, is the sixth film, called Terminator Dark Fate. Paul, you liked it? I did too.
Come at us.
Yeah, come at us. And weirdly, the reason I want to say come at us most is because people hated the first 10 minutes, apparently.
Spoiler alert, we might be talking about spoilers here.
Oh,
so
yeah, just if you haven't seen Terminator Dark Fate, we're going to give the whole game away at some point in the next 30 seconds. First 10 minutes of the film for me were the best 10 minutes, because I actually liked where they went with it. And it made me think of a whole other section of films that they should have done, which we'll go into at another time. But that's the bit that everybody hates. It's like, oh my God, they killed young John Connor. Like, good. That made me sit up and pay attention. It also opened up, oh, okay, so this isn't just going to retread the same ground. This is going to go, well, conceivably, there's other Terminators have been sent back. And sure enough, one of them finally found John Connor, completed their mission, and then a lot of the rest of the film is hinged around, one half of it at least, is hinged around what does a Terminator do when it's completed its mission. Now, I think they squandered a few opportunities with what it did, but I understand that that's what they were going with. And I'm not saying this is a brilliant film, but in converse to Salvation, I think they executed on their ideas appropriately enough. It's not as good an idea as Salvation, but I think they landed most of what they were going for.
Yeah, like I would say this is a good if this had come out before probably any of the other ones.
Yeah.
Like apart from Terminator and Terminator 2, this would be the series would not have gone through the rocky start or the rocky middle ground in which it had.
Certainly not.
Like, but I don't understand. Yeah, a lot of people are saying that the first 10 minutes of John Connor being killed is kind of like it's just like, but you know, how else were you going to push the story? We've already had Terminator 3: Rise of the Machine, which is John Connor as an adult.
Yeah.
We've already had the Terminator Salvation, where John Connor is in the future fighting the machines, and we've had Genesis, which is also a piece of shit. But like, so where were you going to go? You wanted to rewrite a new story. You wanted to essentially show the fact that, you know, time is slightly changing and you know, the kind of thing. The interesting part that I had with the Terminator getting to kill John Connor is the fact is that, the one of the things that people seem to have a problem with was that there was other Terminators out there, and you're just like, it's a machine. It's definitely going to plant as many machines as it can in the past to kill the target. And also for the fact that the majority of records probably were destroyed after a nuclear holocaust happened, that having records of where the hell John Connor was born and raised would probably not be on any records. So dropping as many killer machines to kill him would be a smart idea.
But just from a storytelling point of view, Paul, like, and I know you agree with me on this.
It opens the door.
It opens the door, but also, like, come on, they were smart enough to go, well, you know what we could do now? We could throw that extra bit of spice in there, because there's nothing, as you say quite rightly, there's nothing that precludes another Terminator having been sent back. Mm-hmm. But the idea that you now have a Terminator that was sent back and Skynet has been destroyed by Sarah Connor before she ever meets this Terminator.
Yeah.
So it carries out its mission, even though the thing that put it on that mission is now not going to exist.
Yeah.
It's a time travel film, essentially. Time travel is core to Terminator. That's a great little paradox.
Yeah.
And it makes for opening up a good story. Now, I don't think the rest of the film pays off on that story well enough for me. I would have liked more involvement with that. But as a Terminator film, you gave me that much. You know, you've gone 75% of the way there.
Yeah.
I think the weaker parts of the film, to be fair, we should probably give a review of the weaker parts. For me, some of the weaker parts were I didn't really enjoy the over-the-top jumbo kind of Hercules C-30 plane action set piece.
Yeah.
It felt very Mission Impossible circa 2007. I was like, oh, did it need to be that? I don't know if it did need to be that.
I have the same problem, but for a different reason.
Oh, good.
I am sick and tired of having fights in which I could barely fucking see.
Yeah.
Like at the end of Spider-Man Homecoming has it. Mm-hmm. Venom has it. Mm-hmm. Like, and then this has it. Now, God, thank God that someone went, we should also probably have a lot of the scenes inside the plane. I was just like, thank God.
Yeah.
But you're flying two military gunships at each other at night. It's kind of just like, I see flashing lights.
Yeah.
I see flashing lights and then I see explosions.
I'm agree
in a
with
cinema
that.
kind of thing.
I agree with that. We got to stop this. Also, because some cinemas are trying to save their bulbs and turning down the brightness on movies, and we all know you're doing it, cinemas. Now, I don't think the ones that we actually frequent do that, but I've been to some others, and I'm like, and I've seen the same film twice in two separate locations, and being like, these guys are saving their bulb. Mm-hmm. That's stop that, cinemas. Stop that. And also, when you have, I understand that you need exit signs and stuff like that, but don't have them so close to the fucking screen that they actually brighten. Never mind, that's the cinema stuff. That's our other rant. We're meeting at the docks on Tuesday to have that fight. Mm-hmm. Who wants to join the revolution? See you there.
My interesting thing about some of it was the dropping, Sarah Connor hunting.
Yeah,
the Sarah Connor hunting Terminators. Like, I even like the fact that, you know, once again, spoilers, that we've already said it as many times as we can. The other Terminator was giving, the Terminator who had killed John Connor was essentially giving her coordinates of Terminators being dropped.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is they're not all Terminators.
The people that are coming back are not all Terminators.
Nope.
Well, obviously, because one of them wasn't. It was
the Rev 9.
Yeah.
So it means that, like, the AI was also probably sending things back.
Yeah.
And Sarah Connor was destroying them, which is interesting. The fact that the only one that we've seen, the only bipedal Rev we've seen is the Rev 9, which I like, and the fact that that's the introduction to its weapon, because it is one of the most unique Terminators we've ever seen.
True. I'll be honest with you, the T-1000 over a T-800 skeleton style thing, that is shorthand for it. The idea of the Russian doll, 2 Terminators in one, whatever way you want to look at it. I felt, particularly in the final fight, that didn't get paid off well enough. I thought they could have written and used it slightly better.
Okay.
I thought it was an interesting idea, and I don't think they used it to its full potential. Particularly the shape-shifting ability and actually appearing as anybody more than Gabriel Luna.
Well, we did.
Be nice.
I've discussed that with you, and the fact that if you had a Terminator that can shift identities, I would choose 2, maybe 3 possible good actors to play it.
Well, I think we're going to come on to the original T-1000 before this list is over, so we can talk further about that then.
I do have one thing. The Rev 9. You didn't think in the last fight the splitting thing came off, really? Because I thought there was a really interesting point where he tries to bull rush Arnie, and to do it, the skeleton needs to enter it so that it's more dense and stuff.
And I think, and that, don't get me wrong, nice move. I just think they missed an opportunity to use that mechanism more cohesively throughout the film. It was like there were a few nice moments, but it's not the same as when you get to Terminator 2, how well they used the Terminator's new ability as a constant and in new ways, and as a and we're going to be talking about Terminator 2 before this is all over, so I don't want to go into it, but I don't feel that they fully utilised. I'm not saying that they didn't at all. There's a big difference between I think they underused it and I don't think they used it at all. I think they underused it and maybe didn't execute as much as they could have.
Okay.
That's all. Not saying it's bad.
And then one last thing, the Arnie character. Interesting?
Yeah, I would have been more interested if they'd gone a different direction, but then it would have been a different film.
Yeah, we should do a video on that.
Yeah, and maybe I think we will. Video. Yeah, just for us, I think we'll do a video on the Dark Fate that we would have made, because it's 2 different films, but both of our films are different to what we got. So coming sometime in January.
Yeah. I did think that it was interesting, the fact that an infiltration unit probably attached itself to someone. The reason that I thought it was interesting it attached itself to a family was the fact is that it does make it easier for it to integrate into human society.
Oh, it makes complete logical sense.
And then it's psychologically, it's also good because the wife or partner is from an abusive relationship. Which means that she would be happy to accept anyone who is, protective and also like nice, kind of thing. And on top of that, because of the physical abuse, she would be less likely to, a partner from abusive relationship would be less likely to get physical, which is very important as the Arnie character does weigh a lot and would probably kill her.
Yeah,
kind of thing. And so like it is an interesting psychological pattern of an infiltration unit essentially choosing people which he won't have to reveal in any way that he is a machine, but yet be able to essentially have a family as a kind of cloaking mechanism, and then because of its learning capacity does learn.
And we definitely have to move on, but I do want to throw in 2 things, and I will do them in less than 10 seconds. This is Arnold Schwarzenegger's best acting performance as the Terminator. Like, for the Terminator that he is at that point. I think this is him really getting in sync and in touch with the role. I was actually really impressed. I'm like, yeah, good on you, Arnie. Linda Hamilton, also still awesome. And I don't get people who are like, oh, but she's cold or whatever. Encapsulating the character who has had the burden of saving the world and is basically, maladjusted to society because of her entire life experience, as is played out in the franchise that she was part of 3 films. It works for me. Just take a step back and stop hoping for something that is out of character, because I think she played the character well and it made sense.
Yes, and I also like the what's her name? She was the one who played Grace.
Oh, her name will come back to me another time.
She was very good. I actually liked her, and which was Sarah Hamilton's, or Linda Hamilton's, which was comradeship.
Yeah.
Because there was always like, oh, are you it's like, oh, I can't hear that. So it's like, are you a super soldier from the future? And you're just like, I like this kind of thing.
It was a good dynamic. It really was.
So, right, moving on.
So
finally,
that was in 3rd. So 2nd place. You go for it, Paul.
The original Terminator. Now listen to me.
Yeah, now hear us out. See what I did there?
For me, I'll go first. Just a little bit. The original is one of the best. It's actually a very difficult choice to put it in second. It's a very unique story, which goes, obviously it's got great animatronics, everything like that. As I said, very unique story. But yeah, it's essentially, when you boil down to it, it is only slightly like a serial killer horror movie kind of thing, just with a slight twist and a slight interest kind of thing.
And I was really worried that Paul was going to say everything that I wanted to say, because I was going to start with, it is one of the best films of all time. I watched it again recently because we were going to see Dark Fate. It stands up, and it stands up on every level pretty much. And don't get me wrong, everything's got some cheese in it from the 80s. But it's also a really good representation in the 80s, by the way. Watching again, you're like, oh yeah, tech noir. That makes sense. Even the bad dancing was kind of period correct. Linda Hamilton is great. Michael Biehn as Kyle Reese is awesome. Arnie as the Terminator, down to the little touches that have been taught in cinema class since, with the whole fixing the hair in the mirror after doing the surgery. But the number one thing I can say is it was a sci-fi horror film. Mm-hmm. James Cameron's first, like that. This is James Cameron's business card. You know, the special effects guy makes a movie. You make that as your first movie, you have me for quite a long time. Not to mention everything else he went on to do with, you know, Aliens and The Abyss and all the rest of the stuff. It's an incredible film looking back for what it was, for the budget it had. It really does stand up, and it sets every other film that we're talking about here, because the story is so good. It let all our minds run wild, and then led to all the other films.
Yeah.
Importantly, what film did it lead to?
Well, just to go through it, it gave us an interesting kind of thing. Not only did the story, it also gave us flashes into the future, which were very grim and everything like that, which was nice because it didn't leave us wondering about the whole thing.
No.
And it was nicely done in the flashbacks from Kyle Reese and stuff like that, from seeing the truck, seeing the tracks like Digger and stuff like that, and you know, that kind of thing.
Oh, the PTSD really nice moment and stuff
which is really good because it gives you a look into what the life is like and what he's fighting against, kind of thing.
Oh, it's brilliance made on a budget, absolute brilliance.
But it leads on to Terminator 2 Judgment Day,
and Terminator 2 Judgment Day is practically level with Terminator in the same way that Alien and Aliens are practically level, because they're so different, yet from the same franchise, and yet with the same brilliant sci-fi backbone. One is sci-fi horror, essentially, which is Terminator or Alien, and the other is sci-fi action, which is Aliens or Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Yeah.
So Terminator 2 Judgment Day just edges this quite simply because it is a moment in time that isn't going away. It changed a lot of cinema for a lot of people, and I think it changed cinema for all of us. But it took what was a brilliantly set up time travel, end of the world, apocalyptic robot film, whatever way you want to describe the first film, and just next leveled the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Like the use of the T-1000, Robert Patrick, the casting of him, by the way, brilliant. He was just perfect. But that's where I say they used him and the liquid metal so perfectly, so consistently, and so amazingly that every time the effect was used, you were like, oh yeah, and it could do that, or oh my god, and you know, he's walking through the bars and the gun that he's picked up gets stuck. He's making, slicers out of his hands. He's doing all sorts of things. It just is relentlessly brilliant from an action, visuals, and production design point of view. But the story kicks ass. That's my take on it. It is everything put together so well that I can't find a place to go. It's 90% all the way, and then it just falls down in this one thing. Where does it fall down?
The twist.
The twist itself?
Yeah.
How does it fall down?
Because it was spoiled in the trailer.
I see. I don't judge the film by the trailer, thank God.
I know what you mean.
That trailer is annoying. Like, yeah, this time he's a good guy. I agree with Patrick, and also you guys know, if you've watched most of our videos, the fact that I really like when essentially you build upon essentially existing material and essentially do it really well. You give us more kind of thing, as in like the
in John Wick and John Wick 2, you know, they essentially give you a premise from Terminator 1 and you're set in stone, you know what's going on and stuff like that from at the end. You're just like, okay, cool, Terminators exist. You know, the timeline is essentially not being disturbed in any kind of way. So Skynet still exists in the future and it's still probably planning to try kill Sarah Connor. The second one is great because essentially it builds upon that. So when we see Arnie for the first time, we're like, oh shit, this is starting all over again. Well, sorry, when we see the ball of lightning from the time displacement equipment, we're just like, okay, we're in for some real cool shit here. We understand the premises and then they just build upon it. Yeah. And I say that my only problem with the entire film is essentially that the trailer let us down in the fact that it gives away a really important spoiler in the fact that Arnie's Terminator is a good guy in this one, and the cop in which you see at the start is the bad guy. There is nothing weird about, if you watch it, the cop,
Robert Patrick
does not give anything away that it is a machine.
At the very start?
All the way up.
Oh, yeah.
All the way up to the point in which, until Arnie Schwarzenegger shoots it. Because everyone's going to be like, oh, well, what about him killing that cop guy? And it's like, he breaks his neck. He breaks the cop guy's neck. He doesn't use any blades or anything like that. He doesn't use any of his weapons.
Oh, I understand what you're saying.
It is a perfect twist moment, and which could have set up the film really, really well.
Okay. And again,
and I said the visuals and everything.
I have to remove the trailer from this because we've got to forgive the movies for the marketing. And I think that's probably a good rule in life. Forgive anything for the marketing department that can do stuff to it. As far as the film itself goes, ignoring that the trailer ever existed, there's not a whole lot in it that wasn't either groundbreaking or well thought out. Don't get me wrong, there's some, cheesy, whiny Eddie Furlong moments. I get it, folks, you can pick on the small stuff. But as far as their mission, as far as their mental state, as far as all that, okay, some of it was writ large and a little bit ham-fisted. The father figure for John Connor and the burgeoning friendship and relationship and a machine learning from the boy and that kind of giving him the cheesy one-liners of the Hasta vistas, etc. It was all written well enough that you go with it. It was good theatre. It was good cinema. And I challenge anybody to go back and watch it now and go, oh my God, it's aged terribly. Yes, you'll see some effects. Don't get me wrong. You're going to catch that all the time. And 30 years from now, we're going to be watching Avatar going, oh, I think I saw a wire. I don't know, whatever you're going to see in Avatar.
Yeah, well, you're going to see, because you're judging us on essentially the most advanced graphics that we have at the time. And when it came out, it was one of the most advanced graphics at the time. And now we've got the likes of Avatar and stuff. And of course, you're going to judge it at that scale. And you're going to be like, well, if we are able to do liquid graphics now, what, kind of thing.
But take a 10-year-old kid, the same, when King Kong wasn't exactly, the original old 30s King Kong wasn't exactly what you'd call groundbreaking. When I saw it as a kid, I knew it was a guy in a big ape suit and I knew it was a big gigantic plastic head and hand and all that stuff. But it was well-made film and I enjoyed it when I was a kid. Take a 10-year-old and show them Terminator and Terminator 2, they're going to be blown away by the story. It's not like they're going to be jaded to the story. You're never going to be jaded to this story because it's well crafted. And I think Terminator 2 is that rarest of beautiful things, a sequel that is different and as good as the original. Yeah. And that's the key to being better or as good as the original. Be different. Every time we talk about great sequels, we'll always end up talking about Aliens, we'll always end up talking about Terminator 2. And we'll always mention, well, it's because they were a continuation, but they were a different style of film.
Yeah,
that's how you do it.
Like the only and one of the biggest things is the only reason, as Patrick has been saying, the only reason the Judgment Day is essentially the first one is because the original Terminator was so good. Yeah, as well. It just kept going up in scale until it got later on.
And there you go, folks. We've gone way long in this, but I'm kind of glad we did because they deserve it. I would love to hear from somebody out there who does not agree, particularly with the top two, in whatever order you would put them. If you would put something else as number one over either Terminator, the original, or Terminator 2 Judgment Day, I want to talk to you. I want you to leave a comment and possibly a phone number so that we can have that discussion, because I want to see in your mind. I don't think there's too many people that will be that surprised by the top end of this list.
Yeah, put Genesis at the top and see what happens. I'll come Terminator you. Yeah, no, it's a great film, great franchise and stuff like that. It's gone from strength to strength and weakness to weakness, which is and then unmentionables. But Dark Fate. It was a really, really good add-on onto the series and onto the franchise. If you have any problem with it and stuff like that,
it's
probably hear from you.
Probably going to be the last for a while. I don't know if there's going to be more Terminators in our future, at least in the short term.
Probably not.
So, let us know what you think. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Terminate that subscribe button. Smash it. Do all those things. Do leave a comment down below. But whatever you do, join us next time. I've been Patrick.
And I've been Paul.
And you've been terminated.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Also, do
DJ like paper.
I'm trying to be all liquid hand T1000 there with my pen.
You're all seeing this, right?
Is this thing on?
Yeah.